This is a WKYT podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Victor and Andrea. Andrea, how's it going?
Good. How's it going with you?
It's going great.
Deflection.
Deflection. My coffee is still kicking in. I was filling in some for Marvin Bartlett this week, so I was here late Tuesday night and then back in Wednesday morning.
So you would just come in and do the 10 o'clock? I mean, obviously you would report as well, but...
Well, I anchored the 4 o'clock. Monday, I actually filled in for Sam because he called in, and then worked for Marvin. And then Tuesday, I anchored the 4 o'clock and then went out and shot like a VOSOT, and then came back and anchored.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And there's more. The 10 involved, well, for one thing, it's an entire hour of talking, and it's a lot, especially when it's
by yourself?
Just one person. Now, luckily, some of it, like the 5 things you need to know and Inside Entertainment, you record ahead of time. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, you're still voicing it. And I also didn't realize, I guess Marvin writes those every night, so it's like I got to figure out how to do that. I use CNN News Source. I've never done that before.
This sounds just like my experience filling in on the weekend show, because I filled in a weekend evening, and there's, of course, an hour clock on the weekends for the Fox show as well, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was nice because it's so quiet on the weekends. There's just not as many people. Everybody's they have a job and they need to do it because there's not that many people here. So it was nice in a way because you just kind of were on your own, did your thing, got out of there. But it wasn't like you were busy the whole time, which makes it go by faster. I like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Basically I took my lunch break, but the rest of the time I was just powering down. So
yeah, my mom was talking about she had a lot of downtime this week. I guess it's a slow season for the granite industry.
Oh, all right.
She works at Stone Gallery in Nicholasville.
I didn't know that.
Shameless plug. But she was just like, she doesn't handle downtime boredom well. No, she was like, well, today I went to Lowe's and bought a mailbox because somebody said they needed a mailbox and I saved $60 on it. Like their boss needed a mailbox. And I was just like, she's like, it was better than just sitting there. I can't handle it. Like, she makes signs for everything. Like, if she had a labeler, it would be an issue. Everything would be labeled. You know what I mean?
Mandy had mentioned that recently, getting a labeler.
No. That's a dangerous tool.
I've already got a laminator.
You do?
We laminate a lot of stuff.
Well, I told you about my friend that had a Ziploc bag with an article cut out in it. And that was the cutest thing I'd ever seen.
She could have used a laminator.
I know.
Well, sometimes we'll print off pictures just on paper and we'll laminate them and then clip them off so they're nice and round, and so Vera can play with them and hold them and stuff.
Well, look at you.
But also, like keepsakes and mementos and that kind of stuff.
How cute!
Little art that Vera does, we just laminate it. That way, it keeps forever. Because you think about the stuff. I think about the stuff that my mom kept, and it's all yellow and old and crusty and falling apart.
See, I'm not that sentimental, but then I regret it later. It's like when I'm in a cleaning mood, I want to get rid of everything.
I'm not with most things. Yeah, I
you know what I mean. And I regret it though later. I'm like, why didn't I keep that? But I can't handle the clutter either. So it's tough.
The Grey Gardens situation.
I don't know what that means.
Is this
another movie I have to watch?
And a movie. Yeah, it was 2 older women who, I believe they came from like a rich family, but they end up becoming kind of recluses up in their house, and it's just the 2 of them living in their own little world. But they are also hoarders, and
oh my gosh,
it was just
That's my future.
There you go. I mean, that's
me and Kelsey Mattingly.
Just living it up together. All right, well, this week we don't have a guest. You and I are going to talk about our trip to Chicago for the RTNDA Anchor and Producer Leadership Summit. Mm-hmm. It was you and I, Nightside Executive Producer Lindsay Travis, and News Director Robert Thomas. All went, the 4 of us, and it was in depth, long. But I felt immersive, but I felt like I got a lot from it, I'm very glad to have done it.
I am too, and I think one of my favorite things was just being able to talk to other people who understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for people to relate to this job because so few people do this job or have been in a position that has really any similarities to it. So just being able to talk to people and just having someone truly look at you and like you can see in their eyes, they know. It.
Yeah, there were just little quips whenever people would rattle stuff off and we'd all start laughing. We're like, oh, we all have to deal with it.
Right. Oh, it was wonderful. And I think every job has these things, that I wouldn't understand someone else's job either. It's nothing against anyone. It's just you don't get it until you're in it.
So I have brought the rundown.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Of the classes and stuff that we went through.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was exciting. We might go through some of that. Some of them were just kind of overall like pep talk type stuff. Some of them were technical things. We started off. Well, so first off, we left Wednesday morning, 6:15 ish.
Right.
From the station.
I was on time.
You were on time. I was very proud of you.
I know. I was shocked. I got there really early, but I was also on my morning show schedule already. So
you were already used to it.
I kind of just slept a little extra, but went ahead and came in and got ready here just because it's easier. And the light's better.
So we all loaded up. We left out to good old beautiful Chicago. I drove most of the way, but as we got closer, Andrea offered to switch it up. So we let you switch up, and we were like, okay, well, we'll switch out before we get back in the city.
Yes.
But that didn't happen.
That was the plan. Should have happened.
So Andrea drove us into downtown Chicago.
Ooh. Now, we all know I'm a country girl. Country mouse, city mouse, I am definitely the country mouse. So I did not want to be driving in Chicago, getting off the interstate, unfamiliar territory. That was not something I wanted to do. But somehow, I guess there was just no good place to stop.
I was going to say, it turned out as we got closer, there just wasn't a convenient spot.
It's like, no turning back. I'm in this. At one point, we were on 2 wheels instead of 4. But we survived.
Other than almost off-roading there, yeah, I felt like you did a good job.
And I just feel like everyone's judging me when I'm driving. I get very anxious.
I couldn't tell.
Do you not feel that way?
No, I was focused on the road.
That's probably what I should have been focused on instead of my anxiety, but
So the first thing we did, we got there at start. Well, actually, we got there. We gained an hour, so we got there about 11:30 their time, which was nice. We were able to park and then go have a little lunch before we started for the day. The first day was only kind of a half day, and so we went to a place called Italy.
Italy.
Spelled E-A-T, Ali.
Ali.
Where I had some of the best pasta I've ever had.
Same.
And they brought it out, and I'd ordered it because Robert suggested it. And they brought it out, and I thought, oh, that's it, because it looked kind of plain. But it turned out it was basically just pasta noodles, cheese, butter, and cracked pepper.
Yes.
And it was delicious.
It really was. Because I thought the same thing. I was like,
yeah, but it was
But
so
I think simplicity,
so
exactly. Sometimes when you do something perfectly or as the best you can, it's going to be better than anything fancy where everything's just confusing in your mouth.
Exactly.
You're like, what is
the
this
pasta
mush?
Was just cooked perfectly, so it lets you really taste everything.
I don't remember what mine was called, but it had meat.
Bolognese.
Bolognese.
Look
at me, I'm so fancy. I watch Food Network. I don't cook, so I know some words.
But yours had a red sauce.
Yes, it had red sauce and some
prime rib.
I don't think it was prime rib.
Roast beef.
Maybe. I don't remember.
It was some kind of meat.
Yeah, some kind of meat. It was delicious. But mine, there was a lot more of mine because I was the only one that did not lick my plate clean, which was such a disappointment to the rest of the table.
I mean, that I will say excess was kind of the
name of the game
for me for those 3 days that we were there.
We ate a lot of good food.
I'm still recovering. So then we started the day, Anchors and Producers, Powerful Partnerships in the Digital Age. And this was kind of just, it involved everybody who was giving a talk over the course of the 3 days kind of led that. And it was just kind of getting us all started. And it talked a lot about the partnership between anchors and producers, something a lot of people may not realize that, just there's so much more going on behind the camera that you don't see.
People have no idea. That's what I have so many people ask me, like, so when do you write your stories? And I'm like, I don't write most of those stories. I will go in and fix what I can if there's time, but you really depend on your producers, especially in the morning because you kind of get up and go.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're basically in and you're just, and it's not even so much, I've said, like, that's then people ask me, do you write your stuff? And it's like, well, no, somebody else writes it. I will sometimes just change things in my wording just because different people talk differently. And so sometimes I'll do that. And but you just think about the amount of content that they have to produce.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, I empathize with producers because I have produced. So I understand, I used to get frustrated with anchors. I would get frustrated with myself because I was producing myself. So I'd be like, why did you mess that up? So I feel like it's a good thing to know that side so that you can at least know where they're coming from because like you said, that relationship is so important. You have to trust each other quite a bit.
Yep.
So that was fun. And enlightening. I learned some things from the producers from other stations. You know what I mean? Just how they view things from anchors, especially. Sometimes I don't realize, like, I guess sometimes people look up to us. I don't, like, in my mind, I don't believe it in a way, or I don't look at myself in that role, but I probably should more than I do. And that was part of the leadership aspect. Like, you need to step up and take that role. So hopefully we improved in that way.
Yeah, I think so. I feel, when I came back, Amber was like, okay, what all are you going to teach us?
Right.
And I was like, no, a lot of the changes were internal.
That's a good way to say. But we had that discussion in the car ride home.
Even at the conference, one of the things they told us was like, okay, you've been here for 3 days learning this intense course.
Not working.
Exactly. Your coworkers have been working and things have just continued. So if you show back up on Monday morning and go, listen, everybody, I've got the solution, they're just going to look at you and be like, please stop.
Yeah, shut up. You haven't been here.
Exactly. That was one of the things they talked to us about was like, just slowly introduce this stuff, and a lot of it is more just leading by example.
Right. Exactly. And I do think a lot of it was self-reflection and just trying to figure out how you personally can do better, and hopefully that will make your product better. And I mean, especially for the people back here, they were so busy, and apparently we're rock stars while we were gone.
There was so much breaking news, a lot of crazy stuff happening, and we were all up in Chicago watching it all.
Yeah, Savannah Spurlock's remains were found, which obviously heartbreaking, but at least some amount of closure for the family. They at least know something.
And then that's the thing people don't realize is whenever you cover a story like that over, I mean, you get invested. You've got an entire community of people who are just, their prayers are all out with this family, and so to see at least the start of a resolution,
right?
I mean, it's just.
And then there was rough. Jared Lorenzen's funeral, and I had interviewed him just a year ago, so that one kind of hit me hard.
It's just
such
so
a
good
bizarre.
Guy.
Oh, so charming.
And he loved the fact that UK fans loved him. That's the thing. Like, if he was out, he never said no to a picture. He never. I mean, he was happy to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a great relationship between the two. Like you say, it went both ways. They loved him. He loved them so much. And I mean, national coverage. Yeah. It's like everyone who came in contact with him had the same impression. Like, it's a good guy.
I mean, that's the thing. You just hear that from so many people that you just shows you how genuine it was. I mean, there were a couple shootings. There was just a lot going on while we were out of town. So part
of me was like itching. I was like, I wish I was there.
I know. That's like, kind of.
Breaking news, you go into a different gear. And I mean, it's only so often where these big stories happen. I mean, it doesn't happen every day. So I am one of the people that I'm like, I want to be there. I want to be in that seat. I want to be at the driver's, that's the only time I want to be behind the wheel. But yeah, I was kind of jealous in a way, but like I said, I don't think they could have handled it any better than they did based on the feedback I was seeing. So well done, team.
Yeah, and that leads us into the next session we had was breaking news, leading on all platforms. And a lot of that was just kind of being able to handle yourself and assigning stuff. And part of it was having a plan ahead of time. So that when things happen, you already know what and you're not trying to figure that out in the moment.
That got heated.
Yeah.
That got real heated. So they had different scenarios they would present us, and you split up into small groups, and the small groups would kind of present their ideas for how you would handle these certain situations, which were not easy to handle. I mean, we did one with a shooting at a sporting event. What were some of the others? A standoff situation.
Standoff situation. And part of it that I think some people were very, I felt like idealistic as far as what the newsroom, we would definitely do this. And I wanted to say, well, no, in this moment, I mean, imagine you're in this moment, the news is breaking, these are the facts that we've been given. And so I feel like it's important to kind of realize your limitations and maybe realize in the future why you shouldn't do these kind of things.
But that's why pre-planning is so important. Because, I think that the next time we see one of these situations, we're just going to be more aware of things that we should have thought of. You know what I mean? There was one situation, and this was probably the most heated part, was there was someone who claimed to be a nurse who gave an interview to his station. Turns out this person was not a nurse.
Which is insane. Apparently really happened.
Right. Yes, this is a real-life situation, true story, and the reporter handled it perfectly in real life.
In real life, the reporter at the scene realized that something was up.
Right, because the nurse was giving too much information, obviously violating OSHA regulations. HIPAA. Oh, cut that out. Obviously ignoring... What's OSHA?
Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
HIPAA.
Yeah, HIPAA's I don't even know what HIPAA stands for, but it's the hospital regulations.
One of
releasing
them.
Information. No, you're fine. They're both relevant.
You knew what I meant.
Some OSHA rules are probably also violated.
Right. So
in that
she
case.
was releasing names and conditions of people that a nurse would never be able to do that in real life. And thankfully that reporter realized it. But when adrenaline's running and like, so you're like, I have the interview of the century. I know I have all the names. I know everything. It's like part of you would want to go with it, especially when you're desperate for something new. Because you've been on this story for 3 hours.
Part of the talk was, okay, you see this lady giving interviews. Your competitor is getting ready to use it.
Right.
Do you use it? And that's a big part of it is, it's better to be right than first. But also at the same time, you're making these judgment calls in the moment, and I think that's something a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah. And of course, we're all like, oh, no.
I would never do that.
We would never, but you're absolutely right. And I think anyone who was being honest with themselves knew it wouldn't be quite as easy a decision.
I don't think we would have, but I think there would have been discussion. And that was the thing that bothered me is that there were people who just said, well, there's no way we would have used it. We would, and it's like, well, no, there would have been some serious talks, and there, I think there were some newsrooms that would have, so.
Well, there were certainly people who were arguing to use it passionately.
But it was, you know what? I love that conversation. I mean, that's the thing. Like that, it's a conversation specifically about our industry that other people don't know exactly what that's like. So this was a room full of people who've been in that situation. So
healthy debate is one of my favorite things. Obviously, things can get too heated and emotional, and I've fallen in that trap many a time. But a healthy debate, there's just nothing better.
Yeah. So that was great. Then after that, we there was a social media strategy led by Chip Mahaney and Tracy Davidson. And Tracy Davidson is
rock star.
Yeah, just a social media rock star. Go look her up. She's anchor in Philly, and she has a very structured day when it comes to her social media presence. I mean, she obviously is anchoring the morning show. She's doing all kinds of stuff, but just the amount of work that she puts into her online presence
is insane.
Was impressive. Some of it I'm just sitting there going, I have no time to.
Right. I mean,
She has a team, and that's what she even said. She's like, no, I have a team of people who help me with this. I've set this up. But there were definitely things that she said that I thought, oh yeah, that is an easy thing I could do. I could apply that. Like just being more active in sharing the stories that we do.
She was so proactive too. Like she sought out the help of like a media consulting firm herself. Like did not ask the station to pay for it or anything like that. That was something she took on herself just because she recognized that this is where the industry's moving. Like I need to be on top of this. But also her schedule's literally scheduled to the minute, like 5 minutes at 6:35. This is what I'll be doing. I was just like, there's no way in the world.
Yeah.
There's just no way. Like, I'm not built that way. Some people are, and that's wonderful. And I wish I was a little more like that. Maybe not to that extreme, but, I mean, she almost makes you feel bad.
I know. Well, and I realized, I said, okay, there's no way I could do all of that. But there are things that she said that I can do. And so it was really good to go, okay, what are these, there are things I can take away from this. And I think that was a lot of the week was, here is a lot. Be able to pick and choose what you can do, take what you can. And there was just a lot that we could.
Because not everything works for everyone.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing we realized is that, some of the stuff was for public radio, some of the stuff was for news, some of it was for bigger markets. So,
there was a girl at my table who got to go listen to Wait, Don't Tell Me. They did record while we were in Chicago, but tickets were already sold out for the night we were there. So, because we looked it up.
We Victor would have had to do it in advance, is what you're saying? We should have.
Her boyfriend also works at WBEZ in Chicago. So he was able to get good tickets. Paula Poundstone was there.
Yeah, no, I listened.
Roy Blunt Jr. was there.
Yeah.
I was so jealous. Wow, but no Mo Rocca, because if Mo Rocca had been there, I don't know what I would have done with myself.
I guess we should have, as soon as we found out about the trip, we should have checked.
I'm so upset that we didn't. Yeah. But of course, we didn't know our schedule. We didn't know if that would even be an option for us to get to wherever they record. But if I ever go back to Chicago, I will go to a taping.
There was a lot going on in Chicago while we were there. Chance the Snapper, the alligator,
oh my gosh,
was loose.
Yes.
Lindsay was following it. We were going to go try to catch that gator ourselves, but we were kind of busy. R. Kelly got arrested while we were there.
What?
We also missed that. I mean, there was just a lot going on. So that finished up our Wednesday session. We went out that night. I went out that night. Me and Lindsay and Robert. Andrea decided she would get a salad and go watch The Bachelor.
We went on an epic quest. First of all, we went on an epic quest for a bathing suit for me and flip-flops for you.
Because all I had was my dress shoes, and I realized, if we're going to...
There's a pool.
I wanted to be able to switch into shorts, so I had to go find some flip-flops. I ended up buying some at the Gap because for some reason, like, Marshalls and TJ Maxx, they were all like $10, and I didn't feel like spending $10 on. Anyway, there was also a pool, and we thought, well, what if we want to go swimming?
Yeah.
A spoiler alert: we never made it swimming.
No.
But So yeah, we spent a few hours walking around shopping.
I discovered a new trend in women's bathing suits that I despise.
Very high waist.
The diaper bathing suit is what I like to call it. It's ridiculous. It covers your belly button. Like, I understand the coverage thing and wanting some extra coverage, which I'm all about. There are things I'd like to hide when in a bathing suit that typically you can't. But it's also, if you're wanting to get a little sun, like that's covering everything, and it just didn't hit me in the right spots. It looked very strange.
Looks like you're wearing really big granny panties.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like. I don't understand this new trend. Like, I'm all about, you can barely find, honestly, ladies, you can't find a bathing suit that covers your whole butt anymore. It's like impossible. And it's like I don't want to buy those skirts because that looks weird, and I'm not, I'm getting close to that age, but I'm not quite there yet. And it's just like, it's hard. Bathing suit shopping is hard. Yeah. That was a tough thing.
So,
anyway, went way down that road.
The three of us, not including Andrea, went to Big Bowl, where I had some delicious pad thai. And did you tell me you'd never had pad thai? Or you didn't? We gotta fix that.
I have no regrets about not going that night. I was so tired.
No, that's the thing. And we'd all been up.
And I wasn't trying to be antisocial, but I was like, y'all, I can't.
Yeah, no.
And I had the biggest pimple on my nose. It was painful.
You walked in first thing that morning when I saw you. You're like, oh no, guess what's happening?
It was forming at that time. And I mean, everyone's had one of those.
Yeah.
Like where
you
just
feel it, and
it hurts to the touch, and that's what this was. And I was like, of all times,
of all the days.
But yeah, so I went home and did a face mask instead of going to Big Bowl.
You sent me a picture of you with a face mask on, like, here's my night. So I guess you went home, you ate some salad, you watched some.
I didn't end up watching The Bachelor.
Didn't watch The Bachelor?
No, I listened to a podcast about Bill Clinton.
Okay.
Which I didn't know about all that. Like, I knew about the Monica Lewinsky scandal, but I didn't know all the background information. So it was kind of interesting to go back. We were young when that was going on.
Yeah, we were pretty young.
So thankfully I didn't know those details. I wouldn't have understood them anyway at that age. So.
So my pad thai was delicious. And then the next day, Thursday, July 11th, we heard from Angela Davis.
Oh, former WKYT
employee. She started here. I guess WKYT was her first job. And then she moved to Minneapolis.
Dallas.
She's been a lot of different places. And she's now hosts...
her own radio show.
Yeah, on public radio with Angela Davis.
If you could sum her up in one word, what would it be?
Empowering.
Mine was candid.
Yeah, that too. She was
kept
very
it
honest.
So real. I loved it. And I think everyone loved it.
Yeah.
Because you're in a safe space. Like, obviously, you're with like-minded people, so you can kind of be a little more candid. Because we have an image to uphold most of the time, so we have to be pretty guarded when we're out in public. So it's like, we were in a safe space, and she just let it rip. Yeah. And it was wonderful.
So that was good. I loved hearing from her. And like I said, it was
And I have her phone number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got her phone number because we're going to have her on a podcast as a kind of, we want to do a little series or maybe just every now and then check in with people. Where are they now? Type deal. Where we check in with people and just see where they ended up.
People you may have known from this station in years past. Yeah. Looking forward to that. So that will be in the future. We've still got to schedule that. But yeah, she was awesome. And then after that, conflict resolution and tough conversations in the newsroom.
Woo, mama needs that. Don't we all?
And so a lot of that, was just having, there was some role play that went on, and it was just, tough conversations with people. You have different generations working in newsrooms. Sometimes different people share different things. And one of the things they talked about was how the attitude at the top will trickle down.
Yes.
And so if you have someone in a position of leadership who is either a screamer or likes to curse a lot, different things like that attitude will filter through the newsroom. And so that was one of the things that Andrea Stallman from LKY had talked to us about, how she kind of had put the clamp down as far as people cursing in the newsroom. Not that we're all adults. If you've ever been in a newsroom and things get heated, there's breaking news, stuff happens, and nobody really bats an eye at it. But if that's just a regular thing, it kind of sets a tone that you don't really want. And it makes
some people uncomfortable, and they may not feel like they should speak up about it and just kind of take it. And it isn't, you want to hold yourself to a higher standard if possible. And like they said, one person said it really well. They were like, we should at least conduct ourselves so if the door happened to open and viewers came in our newsroom at any point, we wouldn't be embarrassed of the words we're saying.
Exactly.
So I think that everyone can do better. I can do better.
It also just made you realize, you don't think about, during these conversations, a lot of times the loudest voices tend to drown other people out.
Right.
And so if some, people are dominating those conversations, it's good to hear from everybody.
This was another case where it's like everything was so beautifully done during these role playing scenes, and it was just perfect. You're like, that would never happen like that in real life. But I took away a lot of good tips.
When we were kind of introduced to the school of Jill Geisler.
Oh my gosh, she's a legend.
Yes, and so that was I'd heard her name before. I'd seen some tips and tricks type stuff, but to actually watch her in action, I said it kind of reminded me of Mary Berry on the Great British Baking Show. Sometimes when she's disappointed with someone, I remember one time she said something like, "We're sad about this, and I know you are too." And I was like, "Oh, that's savage." And so Jill kind of reminded me of that, of being able to tell people, like, "Oh, remember this? Maybe we should behave more like that." And just
it was, yeah. She, like I said, I was like, she is so sweet, but she's also throwing a little bit of shade at the same time, and just making you, check yourself. I like the one where maybe someone was wearing inappropriate clothing to work, and she starts out, "You remember the outfit you wore? What was your thought process to your interview? What was your thought process when you picked out that outfit?" They're like, "I want to make a good first impression, like look professional." She's like, "I agree, and you accomplished it. You should think about that every morning before you come in here." And just like, oh, whoa.
All right.
And you're like, what did she say that was mean? Nothing.
It was all positive, and that was.
Did you get it? Yep. Yeah. Loud and clear.
So that was good. Then we had upgrade that writing, kick the fixing habit. And that was one of the things we realized being a fixer
is bad
versus kind of a coach. So people who go in and just fix other people's writing as opposed to talking to them about why you're changing certain things. And that was some of the things the people who taught that even said that they realized they were fixers, that they were just going in and making changes, and they weren't having these conversations with people about why they were why they were changing things. And this was once they did, suddenly people would improve or they would get better.
And this was another good example of where having producers and anchors in the same room was great, because the producers are like, "It makes me feel bad when you guys change my writing and don't say anything. I just think I'm not good." And it's like, that's not what's happening. Typically, maybe the writing isn't good, and that's a bigger conversation to have. But most of the time, we're just trying to put it into our words, and like, we don't mean anything by it. But you can see how just a lack of communication can hurt feelings, lead to misunderstandings. So it was good.
It's one of those things that when they're writing so much, and then we as anchors, it's so easy to come along and just because we're just rereading in some cases what they've written, and then adjusting things. So it's very easy to nitpick and to find little things and be like, "Oh, this should be here, this should be here." And it's like, well,
you didn't spend 20 minutes writing this and reading that police report. Yeah, you're just like, "Oh, it's easy now." Exactly. Easy for you to say.
This is a weird second, but it reminds me of when I'd go to Magic the Gathering tournaments and we'd watch other people play and we'd see mistakes and be like, "Oh, this is how did you not see this?" It's like, but when you're in the moment and when you're in the middle of a game and you don't know what's gone before and what's after.
And you hear people in game shows say that all the time. You're like, "I make fun of these people and now I am."
How did you not know that? It's like your brain just freezes up.
Oh, it happens.
So that was good. Let's see. What else do we have after that? Social media, smart and safe strategies. A lot of that was just staying safe when engaging online. The majority of the people we interact with are awesome. Sometimes you get some people
They're bad apples.
Yeah, ruin it for everybody. And then after that, there were some breakout sessions. They were all really good, just tips and tricks and just social media stuff. And so it was nice to kind of get down in small groups to talk to other people kind of experiencing the same stuff you are. Mm-hmm. So that was our Thursday. And Thursday night, we went to Ditka's.
Oh, my goodness. So good.
Yes. I had a delicious steak. And it's family sides there. So I had a little bit of everything.
And you were too hesitant to order what you wanted, but you got it anyway.
Oh, yeah. The lobster mac and cheese. Oh. Someone else ordered that, so I was able to
I got the Brussels sprouts,
spoonfuls.
And they were good, but that lobster mac and cheese was by far the best.
It was very decadent.
Oh, it was so good.
My steak was cooked absolutely perfectly.
I ate the whole thing.
Yeah, I did too.
It was the best steak I've ever had.
Yeah. It was fantastic. Then the calamari was great.
And there was a secret door upstairs that you found.
You
went exploring randomly in the middle of the meal.
Well, the bathroom was all the way upstairs, and then I had to go through other stuff. But then I saw this wall with this giant mural. It's not even that secret, but you realize there's a door there, and so you press this button like under Mike Ditka's face or something, and it opens up.
I loved it.
So that was interesting. There was
we had
a cheesecake, blueberry cheesecake.
Yes, everything was delicious. We crushed that cheesecake. just me and you. And it was a big piece of cheesecake. And we were already miserable. It was just one of the gluttony at its finest.
Yeah. Because we realized, well, when's the next time I'm going to be back here? Possibly never.
Exactly. You got to do what you got to do. And I think probably the best part of that was the conversation at the table. It got so animated. We were just all telling, like, behind-the-scenes drama.
War stories. Yeah, we were there with other people from Gray TV. Got to meet Sue Ramsett, the GM out in Iowa.
Yes, we love her. And I had met her already once.
Yeah, that's the thing. You'd already met her.
I had kind of a girl crush. I was intimidated by her the first time I met her, and she's the same person. I'm still intimidated by her, but she moved from... I think she was a reporter anchor, and then she moved up to news director. Now she's the general manager of a station. So talk about knowing all the roles. She knows them all.
And then one of the other anchors there from Iowa, she also has a young child. And we were both talking about how we were missing our kids.
Aww.
And then on the final day, one of the other anchors, who I guess is local, her husband brought in their child. And me and the other anchor looked at each other like, oh, would it be weird if we asked if we could hold our kid? I just want to touch a baby.
That's so sweet.
So yeah, we're both just like, oh, I need to get home.
Victor shamelessly showed everyone who showed even a mild interest in human beings a picture of his daughter.
That's what happens. Even if you're just like, I know that babies are
I've
a thing.
seen a baby.
Yeah, I was like, oh, let me tell you about this one.
She's the most special, obviously.
So yeah, that may have happened once or twice. I have become what I hate.
Well, I show my dog too. And
That's
I know
true.
no one cares as much as I do, but I still enjoy it.
Okay.
And I play the game. I go goo goo gaga over their pets too, even though
I need to learn to be better about
obviously
that when somebody shows me a
cuter.
picture of their child, to be more engaged.
That's the
I have
thing.
to work on that, to be like, oh yes, I care.
It's a give and take.
About yours also. Anyway, here's because I'm sure they're doing the same thing, and
Right.
they're nice enough to look at her. I feel like at least my pictures are funny. Okay, so we've gotten sidetracked. Friday morning, we talked to Boyd Hoopert, which was fantastic. He had a presentation about his stories. One of the amazing things about him is you'll talk to a lot of people who are great at their job, and sometimes they don't know exactly how they do it.
Why they're so good.
And they go, oh, I don't know, I just put that. But he is able to break his stuff down at a minute level, line by line. One of the big things I learned from him is you don't have to use all the video that you shoot. Sometimes the story is like you need to know what the story doesn't need, and that was a big thing to learn from him, not only in words but also in video. And so he showed us a story where he'd shot all this extra stuff, but it really all just focused around one little interaction between this boy and this woman on a back porch.
That's something that I too struggle with, and I get too emotionally invested in a lot of my stories, and like I feel guilty if I don't, I've interviewed someone and they think they're going to be on TV and then I don't put them in my story. Like I feel guilty about that, but sometimes it doesn't serve the greater purpose, which is telling a good story and conveying the information you need to convey. And yeah, like you said, knowing what not to include is huge.
And one thing he even talked about, if you have a good interview but you don't have a spot for it in your story,
use it
tell
for
your
someone
producers,
else.
and be like, hey, I've got this, I want to do a breakout.
They'll never
VOSOD
be
in
mad
this.
at you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I've got an extra VOSOD for a show. Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
More content. We have a lot of show to fill.
So he was great. Yeah, if, journalism people out there, if you ever get a chance to listen to him, go for it. And a lot of his stuff is online too. That's the other thing. So if you want to,
look up some of his work.
Not only his work, but some of his classes, some of his teaching stuff is out there too. So that was good. Let's see. Up next, covering communities close up and in context. So that was kind of being more in touch with the people that you cover.
We had an unfair advantage, I felt like, over most people because we're local.
Yeah.
We're from here. So, they were talking about going to local sporting events to like meet people, and we're just like, we already know everybody.
That was kind of the feeling I got. A lot of it was stuff that it's like,
this doesn't
I've
apply to
already.
me.
I'm all, yeah. We did have an unfair advantage in that because we are so local already, and it's one of those things that had I at some point moved to another city,
would have had to do.
This would have been, this is all great, but
And not that those weren't good ideas. I was like, because I know most of the area. I don't know every area that we cover by any means.
No.
That's almost impossible, but there were some good ideas out there, and you can never be too connected to your community that you're covering. So I don't think that's even possible.
No, I don't either. And the last one, workplace integrity, leading in a happy, ethical, diverse, harassment-free culture. And a lot of that was just about, learning how to interact with people, to don't be a scummy person. A lot of, and that's one of the things that journalism has had to kind of deal with after Me Too started. Looking inward and realizing that there were a lot of people who Andrea referred to them as sacred cows. People's like, well, they're just so important. And it's like, well, no, if they're harassing people and they're treating people poorly.
Case in point, Charlie Rose.
That's the thing.
Obviously a huge asset. Yeah. I mean, our ratings suffered when he left the morning show for CBS, which, hurt, I think, morning shows across the country on that same station. So you get, he's important, but you can't do that.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Yeah, Charlie Rose, Matt Lauer, who else?
I know there was a radio host in there somewhere as well.
Garrison Keillor.
Yes.
Yes. Which, so that's the other thing. So it's just...
and they're all shocking.
Yeah.
Didn't see those coming.
Yeah. So just... and so part of that conversation was just, being willing to create an environment where people feel comfortable talking if there is an issue. And that was part of the issue, is not only, not being part of the problem, but making it so that people feel comfortable.
Yeah. And if you see something, say something. You hear that all the time, but it's so easy to be like, well, I would never say that. Yeah. But then if you see someone say it and you don't say anything, you're complicit. So you have to be a part of the solution, even if you're not the problem.
And that was part of the thing they talked about too, was that some people who weren't even, they were, I guess, angry people who yelled at people. They weren't doing anything like harassment as far as being creeps, but they were just creating a negative environment, and they didn't even realize it. And once they talked to them and said, hey, this is how you're being perceived, they said,
and they were shocked.
Yeah.
They were just like, what? That's not what I meant at all.
I thought I was helping people.
Yeah.
And so then so I think that's the other thing, is realizing that there is a difference between someone who's operating from a place of ignorance and a place of malice.
Yes.
Because one is obviously needs to be handled differently than the other.
The woman we talked about, Tracy, I remember she had a very similar experience that she discussed during her talk, and she said that her news director took her out to lunch and was just like, look, like, this is what people are saying about you, because they did reviews of people. And she's like, I had no idea. But she looked at him dead in the eye and said, I'm going to fix this. And she did, because it's easy to just get like, oh my gosh, like so defeated. Mm-hmm. But she was just like, I see it, I acknowledge it, I own it, I'm going to do better. And that's what you have to do. That's part of me. I get very down in the dumps. I'm just like, why me? I'm horrible. I can never get better. But just sometimes we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
And we need to be forgiving of others and forgiving of ourselves, and just always try to do better.
So that was good. Was, and then we, had a wrap up about it, and a lot of that was just about bringing this back to the station, improving ourselves. And so, yeah, I was excited to get the opportunity to go, and yeah.
I enjoyed
now we're
it.
back.
It was a nice little reset.
1 a.m. Saturday morning, was that kind of?
Whew, that was rough. But we made it. We're all right. We're safe. That's all that matters.
Yes. All right. Well, Andrea. Oh, that was the other interesting thing. There was an Andrea. There was an Andrea. There was an
Andrea.
I thought it was Andrea.
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 Because we discussed that Andrea is not a thing.
Well, I felt like that was the thing. I felt like we were trying to play Pokemon. Got to catch them all. It's like, no, we need an Andrea.
So there's
Andrea.
We don't need to go down this road again. It's not that interesting. Not good podcast fodder, so we won't bore you with that.
The point is, there are a lot of variations on how to say your name.
Yes.
All right, Andrea, now that we're back, do you have a favorite thing you'd like to share this week?
Well, I don't know. We could probably talk about this for an entire podcast, but...
Okay, yeah, so I got a text last night.
If you want to you go for it.
Oh, I got a text.
I don't even remember what I said, but I was very emotional.
You just said, let me find this. It said, because I was here working, and it said, guess what I'm about to do? And I'm like, what? You said, I'll give you a hint. JW. And I said, the Marriott? Like,
I still don't understand that.
The JW Marriott. That's what it's downtown.
Oh, I've never even heard of that.
Okay. And you're like, what? I'm about to watch John Wick. I said, have fun. But then you send me a text back. So spoilers for John Wick, but it's the first 10 minutes of the movie, so you'll be all right. You said, I hate you so much. I literally just watched a puppy get murdered. I'm crying.
I was tears. Like crocodile tears. Is that what they're called? When they're like the big fat tears?
So then I felt kind of bad, but I just pictured you bawling over this puppy.
But I was watching it with someone who also knew it was coming and didn't warn me. So I just felt betrayed by both of you, by the way. And I'm a huge animal lover, as we all know. But my eyes were covered.
That's part of the emotional arc of the story.
And it was the sound.
Which then makes you understand his vengeance even more.
So, yeah, I was like, there were a lot of details that I missed personally. I like a nice complete plot with everything tied up in a bow. That is not what you get with John Wick. Which
is one of the things I love about it, because it's giant world building. You get the idea that you were just watching a part of a small world play out.
Right.
But you're watching a small part of a larger world.
And I said you have to look at it, at least you have to have a little bit of comedy involved. Like, it's so insane.
So intense.
There's a lot happening. a little unrealistic. I think we can all agree.
No, I think the combat that's one of the great things. Is that the combat. Okay, yeah.
Right, yeah. But it was just like, it was so over the top that it was funny and just impressive and great, and I did enjoy it. I was not prepared. I mean, I think that's the cardinal sin of movie making, is like killing a dog in a movie. You can't do that.
There's even a website.
Because think about how many people died in that movie.
Yeah.
So many, but I didn't cry over any of them. Bawled over that dog. It was a puppy also, by the way.
There's a website, doesthedogdie.com, and you can search for movies to see if you're going to watch a movie. You type in the name of the movie, it'll tell you if a dog dies in the movie.
You're kidding me.
No, I'll show it to you.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Whoever created that, thank you,
so now you can
very
keep
much.
yourself safe and figure that out.
Yeah.
My favorite thing this week is an oldie but a goodie, bourbon and Toulouse.
Oh, yeah.
I went to a wedding Saturday night, and congratulations, Andy and Alyssa.
Yay.
They, for their catering, instead of having, some, I don't know, like specialty plates and all kind of stuff, they had bourbon and Toulouse cater it. And it was fantastic.
Nice.
Of all the weddings I've been to, it may have been my favorite food, just because I love
Didn't we talk about food at weddings during the trip? And we said, what did we say?
Well, that's one of the things that Andy had told me. He said, think about how many weddings you've been to. How often do you remember the food? I mean, you remember the fun. You might remember the cake. If the cake.
Because I think we said that people spend too much money on the food.
And
they freak out too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, it is free food.
Yeah.
Beggars can't be choosers.
And so they got bourbon and Toulouse, and it was just it's the delicious bourbon and Toulouse I always expect.
I also like it, I watch a lot of 4 weddings because I'm basic and I love it. But I like it when, a couple will be like, we met at a pizza place, or our first date was at Gaddytown. So they have Gaddytown cater their wedding. And it's like, that's so cute. I like that. The
centerpieces at the wedding were cedar boxes that they had made themselves, and they had succulents in them. And you could take a box home as a wedding gift.
That's nice. Sweet. Anything personal. I think that's one of my favorite things in weddings, is when it's really personal and they like tell you how they met and like their backstory. That gets me invested, and like, I enjoy that.
Yeah. So that was fun. I had a good time, but yes, my favorite thing of the week, bourbon and Toulouse. Go get you some. Here's my go-to order. I get a half and half crawfish etouffee, half
I think this has been your favorite thing before.
Half corn. Caramelized corn and black beans. You know what? If it deserves 2 favorite things, because I enjoy it that much. Get some of the Cajun Power garlic sauce. It's so good.
Is it spicy?
It's not that spicy, no, but it's just got a really good taste.
People say that to me, and they're wrong.
So my other favorite thing this week is one of our new reporters, Shelby. We learned that she had never had a Grippo. Did you watch the video?
I have it saved on my Facebook because I haven't gotten to sit down and really watch it. But I was like, oh, that should be good, and it went. It did really well.
Like 30,000 views. Yeah, it was crazy.
Like,
I said, okay, well, apparently. But I found out Olivia Russell's also never had Grippos. So we'll do another one of those maybe today. I don't think Megan has had one either.
Where are these people coming from?
That's the weird thing. Olivia is from Louisville.
Yeah, no excuses.
No excuses there. At least Megan's from Kansas City, and then Shelby's from L.A. So, I mean, you can understand why they had never had it. But so, yeah, it was a video of her eating a Grippo for the first time. She said it's very intense. I guess I never realized how spicy they were, but she said it was hot. And
have I had a Grippo?
You've had Grippos.
What's a Grippo?
The barbecue chip?
I feel like I have, but I don't know that I have. It's like I've seen them. I don't know if I've ever actually eaten one.
All right, well, if you're listening to this, go look for the video online, because we're about to put one up of Andrea eating Grippos.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. What is wrong with me?
I don't know. Well, that's assuming there's some Grippos in the break room here. We may have to go check. They may not go up until tomorrow. So keep an eye out. At some point, Andrea's going to eat a Grippo.
Oh, I'm scared.
I got her in L8 to wash it down with.
Kentucky, baby.
Yeah, but they're like spicy, but they're also really sweet. They've got a lot of sugar in them for a potato chip, which is what I like. I like how sweet they are.
Sweet chips?
They're spicy.
All right, I'm going to have to just try it.
You really... How are you from Nicholasville and you don't know if you've had a Grippo?
I was a very picky eater as a child. I was probably afraid. Oh, I didn't even drink chocolate milk until college.
I don't think you realize how much this hurts your Kentucky cred.
What?
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to know my opinions on Ale8 then, because I'm not a big fan.
People are going to judge you. I just want you to know.
I love the Ale8 company. Yeah. I love that it's a Kentucky-based company that people love so much. It's just not my particular taste bud.
Okay, that's fine. I know. No, here's the thing. L8 is definitely an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I know plenty of people don't like it. I like it quite a bit. But again, it was acquired because when I was little, I did not. People would be like, here's an LA. And I'm like,
maybe I should try it again because that's probably taste buds change.
There you go.
We evolve as people, as we should.
Diet Elite. I'm a big fan
Here's
of Diet
the thing.
Elite.
I think we have to rule out favorite things as food anymore because we always end up
always
going into
food.
such
Such a
long
long
discussions about random food.
Well, no, this favorite thing isn't about food. It's about a video about food.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's a technicality. So, okay, well, we'll figure out.
Kebabs.
Don't even get me started. Enjoy your rat kebabs, Andrea. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for hanging out with us this week as we rattled on about our good time in Chicago, all the things we learned, and all the food we ate. Bye, everybody.
Bye.